So suppose in this company as well, somebody tries to download the same file. In this case, firewall will not submit this file to the public cloud, because when it is downloading, it will check, okay, I know that a putty.exe having this hash value has been earlier checked and it has found to be benign. If the hash value is same while this person downloads, that means this must be the same exact file with each bit and bit same, right? Are you getting my point?
Yes.
So in this scenario, it won't submit it to the public cloud because it already knows from the wildfire signatures that we have done it, we have checked it once. Okay. But at the same time, now let's take another example. Suppose it's something, a zero-day attack, okay, some malware. Now in this case, again, this guy will get infected, right? But when it submits this zero-day malware to public cloud, it's going to get a verdict as malware. Same updates are delivered to other people. So again, when a similar attack happens here, when somebody tries to download this zero-day malware, they are not going to get infected because hash signature will be with the firewall and it will block it. Okay, I hope it's even now a little bit more clear, like how wildfire helps in protecting. Okay.
Yes.
Like what's the benefit of having this community approach? Okay. Because if you don't go for wildfire, the problem is you are waiting for this update for 24 hours to 48 hours. Now, during that time, you might get infected by that same form of attack which has happened at other organizations. Okay. Also, wildfire is a big topic. I'm not saying like you need to read this start to end, but they have created a wildfire admin guide separate. Okay. So you can download it again from Palo Alto website. It includes all the basics like, how to start, and it goes all the way to advanced topics like setting up your own private wildfire cloud, in which you buy equipment from Palo Alto. Okay, a hardware WF500 appliance is what you purchase from Palo Alto, and you can have even a cluster, a group of servers of those WF500 appliances if you have a large number of files to be processed.
We can deploy our separate wildfire setup.
Yeah, but there are some limitations to it. Okay, it's not necessary that you use a cloud environment. You can have WF500 appliances and have them in your premise. Okay, we'll come to that topic as well. But my point here is like, in free time, just look at this wildfire admin guide as well. I'll just show you here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you see this wildfire admin guide, okay, it's around 200 pages of separate wildfire content, like how to deploy. Okay, they discuss even wildfire appliance clusters. Okay, So you can have a big cluster. These are all wildfire appliances. Okay. So you can have 6 nodes, 2 controller, 1 server, 3 clients. You can manage them. So there's a lot of information. Okay. Now this is not uh, covered in PCNSE, and actually they don't expect you to do this. Okay. But for maybe a bank or any other similar financial institution, or somebody who doesn't like to have submissions to the public cloud, they can have this. Okay. Now see, this also helps you in protecting against malicious links in email. Okay. How? See, suppose an attacker sends you an email with some malicious link. When that email passes through the firewall, it will capture this link from the email and send it to the public cloud for analysis. Okay. So obviously the first guy will get this email, but with this link, it's going to try to browse the link. And if it finds during the dynamic analysis that the link that it browsed is a malicious link, then it will create updates in the PanDB URL filtering database. The site or the domain is malicious. Once it has a verdict,
Voice is
it can submit. Okay. Yeah. I'm saying, like, suppose like this guy sent that email. Now once a public cloud does a dynamic analysis and browses that website, okay, and finds a verdict that the link was malicious, it is going to generate updates for the PanDB URL filtering database, which gets downloaded to firewall. Okay. So the benefit of this is, like, even if this person clicks, it depends on timing now. Okay. If this person clicks the link before they have generated a verdict for this link, then the guy will go to the website. But if suppose I get an email, I don't check it, and in the meantime Palo Alto has generated this verdict that this link was malicious, and maybe I get an email today at 10 a.m. I open that email at 2 p.m. So in this big time, generally Wildfire would have generated a signature for firewall. Okay. Now in this scenario, okay, if you don't open it quickly enough, okay, and if Palo Alto has generated signature for that, you might even prevent initial infection, because when this person clicks on the malicious email link, because it checks from the PanDB that okay, this is a malicious, it might block this person from accessing this web page. Okay. So it helps you in checking for malicious links or phishing links in the email as well. Okay. See, you can say that viruses are not causing those, malwares are not causing those, but these are actually being caused by malwares and viruses. It's not like these are not caused by malwares. See, somebody downloads a malicious thing, and that is what helps the attacker from inside of the company, because obviously it's not like some employee has gone rogue. Okay. So, yeah, something from the inside. Okay, somebody infected. uh, yeah, fine. Give me a moment. Okay, fine. So, like I discussed, if you look at this email with attachments sent to wildfire analysis, okay, if malicious, wildfire can create and download new antivirus signatures and also update and database with malicious URL links, and the firewall can use that information to protect the network. Okay, like I told you, depending upon the timing, it can prevent initial infection as well. Okay, now this is the high level, or actually the detailed overview of what happens, okay, with wildfire. Okay, suppose there's a file received. Okay, when the file is received, uh, Palo Alto checks whether it is signed by a trusted signer. Okay, what it means is, you might have seen that when you try to install a software sometimes. I'll just show you. Right. Okay, see, like uh, when you run this software, can you see this? Hello.
Yes, yes, you can see.
Now it is from the Microsoft, right? It is from a verified publisher, right? That's what Windows is saying. Similar to this, Palo Alto also checks if the file is signed by a trusted signer. Okay, mean, a corporation or a company who is trusted. Like Microsoft will not put malware in their .NET package, right? So if it is trusted by if it is signed by a trusted signer, it directly allows it. It doesn't look at it further, and no need to submit it to the public cloud. Are you getting my point? Like Google, Microsoft, lot of these companies. Okay, if it is not signed by a trusted signer, then it will perform a hash on the file. Okay, and check based on the hash value whether the file has been seen or not. If it has been seen earlier based on the hash, it will check its verdict whether it was benign. If it was benign, you have to allow it because then there's no problem. If it was grayware, phishing, malware, you can decide based on the verdict. We'll discuss what different verdicts are. Okay. If it doesn't find a hash for this, and if the file size is less than the configured maximum size, okay, like if I go back to my firewall in device setup, in content ID, I think, no, wildfire, sorry, the wildfire type in device setup, wildfire tab, you see here there are file size limits. Okay, so what you can see is if a PDF file is beyond 3 MB, okay, like maybe the PDF is 4 MB in size, then it will not be submitted to the public cloud. Okay, these are the upper limits. If some file size is more than this, they are not submitted. You can modify this according to you if you feel like increasing. Okay, so Like I told you, it's not like if you download a 1 GB file that will be submitted to the public cloud. Okay, because it's going to take a lot of time to upload that, right? So file size less than configured maximum. If no, then also you allow it. Okay, but if file size is uh, less than configured maximum, it to the public cloud for analysis. Okay, they do static analysis, machine learning, dynamic analysis, bare metal analysis, and they'll create a verdict. Okay, once they create a verdict, like whether it was benign, grayware, phishing, malware, they'll inform firewall who submitted, and also it will generate malware signatures for other firewalls or other customers. Yeah. See, we are here not to make a new product. We are here to understand what Palo Alto behaves, what behavior it has, and how it works. Okay. So I'm sure, they have very good people in their product team to decide what they should do. But see, the URL filtering takes care of what you are saying already. Like, see, all downloads are not public. Suppose you are downloading an email attachment. Can you take the link and give it to anybody and can they download the file? So it's better to submit the file rather than, submitting the link. Okay, fine. So this is the same work process, wildfire process workflow. This comes from the wildfire admin guide. You can read it from there. Okay, they discuss here. Okay, so you can look at it from here. Okay. Now, what are the verdicts? Benign. Benign means it was safe and there is no malicious behavior at all. Okay. Second is grayware. Okay. What is grayware? You might have experienced that a lot of times when you download softwares from internet, especially the free software, they come sometimes bundled. They used to come sometimes bundled, come bundled with these, toolbars like ask.com toolbar and this, that, right? Have you seen like browser toolbars uh, getting added after installation of some software? Yeah. So some of those submissions that you do to wildfire, they might not actually be malicious. Okay, they might not actually do anything malicious, but they uh, do some irritating behavior, like like browser helper objects or adware, or okay. So what happens is these type of things are classified as grayware. Okay, fine. Then the third is malware, which means that the thing that is malicious in nature and intent. Okay, it could include worms, viruses, trojans, rootkits, botnets, lot of these things. Okay, Fourth is phishing. Like maybe it just takes you to a website where they try to steal your username password. Okay. Now see, when you submit things to the Wildfire public cloud, okay, and let me show you actually, rather than I'll show you the report, but currently if we see the Wildfire submission, there has been no Wildfire submission, okay, and this practical will require license, okay. If you don't have license, you cannot submit files to Wildfire, okay. Now if you see Wildfire submission here, I'll go to how do you test whether you have properly Wildfire configured or not. Palo Alto has kept this Wildfire test file hosted into their website. Okay, so we have SSL inspection already. So we can even try to download a HTTPS based file. Okay. Now, see, they have given you like if you have SSL decryption enabled, then click on these links to download. If you don't have, then click on these links. Okay. So suppose I click on this link. Okay, and it will give me this file. Okay. The file transfer is blocked because the file blocking profile is stopping us from downloading this file because we don't have the .pe files because those are script files. So let me remove the file blocking profile here. Okay. So I'm saying like, it's not just Wildfire who is protecting you. Even those file blocking and other things can protect you sometimes. No, you will not be able to download a jar file or PE file like in the file blocking we have mentioned there. So that is why it didn't allow us to even download the PE file. If it doesn't allow us to download something, then it does not submit it as well, right? See, if something is blocked, then it is blocked. You don't need to submit it to cloud. See, if you do submission of all the files that file blocking blocks, that will be huge number of files. So they don't do it. Okay. I'm again reminding you, Arjun, see, we are not here to engineer a new product. Okay. See, what I mean is simple. Will it be submitted to the cloud? No. Palo Alto has not configured their device in or programmed their device in that way. Okay. We can discuss 5-10 minutes like whether it should be this way or that way, but it will work the same way the Palo Alto has programmed it. Okay. And regarding loopholes, there are always loopholes in security. It's just that good attackers are those people who understand security properly. Okay. Like, if you are maybe a college kid trying to do something malicious, you might just use Kali Linux and try to do some things, or you just use some uh, but if you are really an attacker, you will spend time understanding the security product, then you get the loophole. Like, I'm giving you an example. Suppose one of you is an attacker, is a potential attacker who does hacking activities in the free time, okay, like really bad guy stuff. Then while studying this product, he got to know that if he sends a PDF file of maybe 3.5 MB or 4 MB in size, that file will be delivered to the person, and at the same time, wildfire will not even detect it. So I can use that at many different customers. So this is what really an attacker is. Okay, he studies the product. Are you getting my point? Because any security product will always have loopholes. It's not like you will have a foolproof product anywhere. Okay. So what I was showing you is like, I think we committed. Okay. So file blocking, I removed it just so that we can see this download of this file. So now if I click on this file, it is allowing me to download this file. Okay. Previously we had blocked these exe files down. Now actually we downloaded it. Okay, I'll delete it because we don't want to infect our system. But the point here is I'll not run it, but in the monitor, in the wildfire submissions, it will show up in some time that I received this file which I have submitted to the public cloud. Okay. Now it can take anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes to show up it in the log. So don't worry too much about checking it out immediately. Okay. So that's why I downloaded the file right now, because we can check in, like, I think before we in the class ends we can check this log again to see that the file was submitted. Okay. In the meantime, we can discuss some other things. So next we have Wildfire Private Cloud. Okay. And if you see, some people might not be comfortable having their file submitted to public cloud. So there is WF500 appliance. Okay. Now what it can do is it can run some. There are some limitations to it. Like, it can run Windows XP and 7 virtual environment. Okay. You cannot have Apple or Linux environments in this. It will locally analyze your files, and if some signatures are created, it will submit to your firewalls directly. Okay, you don't have to get them from the Palo Alto cloud. Okay, so files never leave your network. Okay, and it will generate those antivirus signatures and URL categories and everything. Okay, it also supports Wildfire XML API. So if you want to programmatically maybe access its some of its features which they have available, you can have those. It does not support phishing verdict. Okay, it supports only benign, graveware, malware. Okay, most of the organizations, even banks and financial institutions, they'll go for a hybrid cloud model. Okay, in a hybrid cloud model, you can submit the sensitive files, like maybe Microsoft Office files for a bank. You can submit those to your private cloud or appliance, and the non-sensitive files, maybe exe files or Android APK files, we can submit those to the public cloud. Yeah, not a problem. They can host all of it at one place. Most likely, people will keep this in a data center environment. You won't keep it So they'll keep it at one data center specific location. Okay. So it combines public and private cloud. Sensitive data files can be submitted to private cloud, and non-sensitive you can check it out in public cloud. Now comes the licensing part. Okay. One is you have wildfire license. Okay. And if you have wildfire license, as you can read, you can only do file analysis for exe, .dll files, scr files, font files. Okay. And in this, you get antivirus signatures delivered via daily dynamic content updates. Okay. That means that in this case, you will get antivirus signatures via this threat prevention license. Okay. Second thing you see here is you have a standard subscription service of Wildfire. If you go ahead with this, you have all those other file types. Okay. And in addition to that, you have MS Office, PDF, JAR, class, SWF, SWC, APK, and all these. Okay. And this gives you updates in 5 minutes. So if you want express service, you have to have for this license. If you don't want this, you can go for the Wildfire license service. But then you are leaving a gap of like 24 to 48 hours for getting the latest signature. Most of the organizations who are spending money on their network security, they'll just go for, full standard subscription service. Okay. And this is why they created these firewalls with subscription services, because these latest and greatest updates cannot be delivered one time. This is also a problem with traditional firewalls. In a traditional firewall, it does not get any dynamic updates for any of these things. Okay. So these are the supported file types for basically no wildfire license, and supported file types in case of full blown wildfire subscription. You have a lot. Okay. Now, also there is a limitation. Sometimes you might have seen, if there is a large archive of a zip file or a RAR file, they split it into parts like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, like this, right? If there is multi-volume split archive, then you cannot submit all that for analysis. You can submit, a single one. You cannot. Are you getting my point? Okay. And obviously, like I told you, Android APK and macOS file types are not supported using Wildfire Private Cloud. Okay. The way you configure private cloud is simple. You go to device setup Wildfire and mention the private cloud, that is the Wildfire appliance IP address here. Okay. So we have already seen the configurations. We have already seen. Okay. Now, just here, where I showed you device setup Wildfire, where I showed you the file size limits, just below that, it also includes session information settings. What it means is what information will be given to the public cloud when it's submitted. Okay. If you don't feel comfortable sharing any of these, like maybe I'm just saying, like suppose for privacy reasons, you don't want email sender and email recipient and email subject to be submitted when emails are submitted for malicious links, you can do that. Okay, and actually it does not submit your email, it just submits your uh, malicious link. Okay, so maybe you will send email sender, you don't want to send receiver. Similarly, you can select what information you want to share with the public cloud and what you don't. Okay, by default everything is checkbox. Yeah, so okay, I think we don't need to go into explaining like what these mean. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. You can even unselect all of them and still wildfire is going to work. Okay, like I told you, so security policy rule should allow the traffic, and then if the wildfire analysis finds that this application, this file type, this direction should be submitted to public cloud. Okay, so then you will see the logs here. Okay, it pops up like this, and once they do all this analysis, okay, I think it should come. Okay, no problem, it's going to come in sometime. Once they do this analysis, they give you a detailed report. Let me show you a sample report. This is what a wildfire analysis report looks like. Okay, and now they are showing you here that in the dynamic analysis we used it in VM1, that's Windows XP with Adobe Reader and this, and then we also ran it on VM2, that's Windows 7 and Adobe Reader, this and this. Okay, now what you see here is they give you all these details. What was the signature, what was the sorry hash value, what was the file size, verdict. They also give you the behavior summary, like what did it do, it's modified some registry entries here. Okay, it changed some security settings of Internet Explorer, proxy settings. Okay, so also they give you DNS which HTTP methods get put post, CRUD things it did. It also gives you a host activity, like where did it create a file, what entries it created in the registry, and what entries it modified in the registry. Okay, so this is a full-blown kind of forensic analysis. Okay, okay, and you can then see it for the other Windows machine as well. They show you the timeline. Okay, let's not go further into it. Also, I'll show you when we receive the report here. Here, the report will not be that long because this is a test file which Palo Alto gives themselves, so they don't do actually any malicious activity. It's just that they use it to detect. Okay. So, like I told you, that you create a profile, wildfire analysis profile, and submit, and then apply it in the security policy. Now, in older Panos versions, this configuration used to be done under file blocking profile. So this is just for your information. Okay. And once this is done, you take the security policy rule and put the profile in. Okay. Okay. Now see, this is what I was telling you. If you go for regular antivirus signature updates, you will get that in 24 to 48 hours. If you go for wildfire, you will get URL updates immediately, and also antivirus signatures are available to you every 5 minutes or so. Okay. Also, I have already shown you where to schedule wildfire updates. Okay. Without a license, antivirus signature still added to your daily antivirus content package. Okay. You can also see how to configure it through CLI. Okay. Now, this is what I was telling you, that you download the file and it is going to inform with files and URLs, whatever it is, to the public cloud. Then it generates reports, which reports are downloaded to the Palo Alto firewall, and then you will find this in the log. So that is why till this whole process completes, you don't see it in the log. Okay, since they have not generated reports and for our submission, that's why we don't see it in the log. Okay, so we can download one of the malware test files from these links. This is available on their website. If you have SSL decryption, you can use HTTPS link, like I told you. The test file is named wildfire-test-file_type-file.exe, and each test file has a unique 256 SHA value. And once you have downloaded that, you can either use this to test. This is just to test the wildfire connectivity, whether you really have reachability to wildfire.paloaltonetworks.com or not. Okay. And earlier, what they had done is, like, if you sometimes people used to just check connectivity by doing a ping. Okay. Now they respond to those ping requests. So even if you open SSH session of firewall, even if you open SSH sessions, you can use the ping host command. Copy it. So previously they didn't used to respond to these ping requests. Okay. So sometimes people used to think that, okay, maybe the wildfire is down, or maybe I don't have reachability. So in an older version, if you don't get a response to this ping, don't worry. Okay. In a new version, you will get even connectivity check using ping. You can also use this CLI command to verify whether your file upload was successful. Show wildfire statistics.
Older version means below
Older operating system versions.
Okay.
I think in PanOS 8 they didn't used to allow you to ping.
Okay, so we can.
I think it won't matter now. Okay. It won't matter with even older versions. Okay. But you know, like in previous times, it didn't use to ping. Like around 1 year back, more than that, when I used to train for PanOS 8, when I used to ping this, it didn't respond. So now they have maybe taken up customer feedback and started giving this. All the operating system updates, software updates, all that you buy in one license. Okay. So if you buy their appliance and if you have that under support, if you have under support contract, you can upgrade without any issue. Okay, like I can even downgrade my firewall. Like if I go here, device, software. Okay, if I click check now, if I maybe feel like 9.1, S3, whatever it is, this version is not sufficient for me. And you see, for on the 8th April, they released a new. So I can click on this download and install it, so it won't be that difficult. Okay, so you can even download older versions. Okay, now nobody downgrades usually that much till 6, but they give you the option to download. I don't know why, because they have stopped giving support for these versions. Okay, till 8.0 versions, 8.1 and these onwards they are supported, but okay, so it's simple. You can click download, install. Okay. Also, you can verify using this command. Like you can see here, verdict was malicious. This is what it will pop up here after some time. Yeah, see here. So you saw that it takes time. Okay, so be patient if you have trying to test this. Okay. So obviously the verdict here again is malicious. Action is allow because we allowed it to download. But see, this is a test file for which Palo Alto generates a new SHA value. Yeah. So they have kept it because or else you would have to find and create new files in order to just make them downloadable. Okay. Now, if you go here, you click on this, it might take some time to load the report. And sometimes this loading of report doesn't work with, you know, Firefox or Chrome. If it doesn't work in some browser, try another browser. Okay. In fact, let me open it in Edge. Okay, so click here, and if I click wildfire report, it takes some time to load it. I think it last time it worked with Chrome. I don't know. If it doesn't work here, we'll check in Chrome. Yeah, so here it is. Okay, so this is the report that I was showing you. That this was the SHA value for this file, and the verdict for it was malware. You can download it as a PDF, or you can check these things as well. Like, see, this is what it checks in static analysis, that this file has some suspicious things, like it is an invalid checksum. Okay, and the size discrepancies, last section is executable, first section is writable. Okay. So this is all done using static analysis. Then during dynamic analysis, it found that it tried to select a process, run, modify registry. Now here they don't do much with this uh, malware file because they don't want people to be, really like spoiling their test machines on which they have downloaded this file. So, but so here it's like on Windows. This is on Windows XP. This is an older virtual machine. This is a Windows 7. Now uh, they don't do it further analysis for these test files or on other operating systems, but you get the point, right? How it really is. Okay. So configuration is not that difficult actually. Okay. And we have tried to include as much screenshots as possible for this because this is something you won't be able to perform without licenses. So this is the log view. This is how a report looks like. Okay, like for this DLL file, the verdict was benign. Okay, but it didn't exhibit any malware behavior. Okay, also you can go to this portal to see all the wildfire related statistics. Here you cannot configure anything, but it's just for maybe our security management team to see the statistics. Okay. On the portal also you can see the same detailed reports. You can download the file as well if you feel like submitting it to maybe some internal forensics team. Okay. I've already discussed. This is not required for PCNSE, but just in case somebody asks you, can we have multiple wildfire appliances and have a cluster? Yeah, this is just for your general knowledge. Okay. It's very, very, very rare to have wildfire clusters. Okay. So tomorrow we are going to start with the user ID.
Okay.
Okay. No problem. We'll see to that tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll end the meeting. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.